So, John, what's your best boat story?
My best boat story. Well, I've got so many to choose from. Many a seafaring tale I've got.
Quite the seaman, are you?
I'm quite the salty seaman, yeah. I don't know, does the banana boat count?
Go on.
Well, I mean, literally a boat that was an inflatable banana.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say this counts.
Okay, sure, yeah. I mean, it's
Off
not
to a great start, by the way.
yeah, I mean, it's not an amazing story, but it was a near-death experience. So, you know,
Yeah.
when I was when I was on my ill-fated 18 to 30 trip to Malia, which I've probably referenced a few times before, after I've graduated from high school, part of the trip was we had to do a drunken banana boat speed. It was like a giant inflatable banana strapped to a speedboat. It's a thing that you do on these islands. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So you get really drunk, then you get on top of a giant inflatable banana, and then that banana is hooked onto a speedboat, and the speedboat just kind of dashes around the islands.
Sure.
It's all very safe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I fell off because, of course, you know,
Yeah.
most people fell off. But I wasn't a very strong swimmer. We were all wearing life jackets, but
Okay.
it was quite a strong current day, and I was just trying to pad back to, front crawl back to the beach. And I became very aware that every time I was stopping, I was getting pulled back out a lot further than I'd originally got, and it got a bit freaky. And eventually I mean, it's not that exciting. Eventually I was just like, okay, I need to stop taking rest breaks. I just need to just power through this, otherwise I'm never going to go back to the shore. But
Yeah. Did you get back?
I did. Well, I'm here with you on right now. I didn't float back to England, so you know.
Well, they did have to come and rescue you with the banana boat, or what?
No. I just had that moment of okay, I can either focus on this and just swim like hell and get back onto the beach, or probably die. So I was like, okay, I swim back to the beach then. So.
What a crazy game this was.
I know, yeah. I don't know how more people don't die on these holidays, but yeah. I mean, everyone else could just basically swim. It was my own fault, but
Sure, well, yeah.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels, and spin-off ideas to Winter's Tale. We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing from our listeners with the ideas they've posted on our Facebook and Twitter pages. But first, we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments from the original movie and catch up with a bit of a plot summary. I am Harry, the host with the most. Great film choices this year.
You made some very good calls.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
And joining me as always, the host with the most. Great. Sorry, I couldn't think of anything. It's John Lucas.
With the least great film choices?
I guess, yes.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah,
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Okay, well, you were going to, weren't you, though? So
Yeah.
I mean, how bad? I feel like this film might have broken you.
This was a very bad film.
Yeah.
And it was boring.
I mean, I understand.
It's the worst thing a bad film can do, is be boring.
See, I mean, I knew this because I got the text messages that you've been sending me all week about how much you hated this movie. I don't know. I mean, clearly we have very different thresholds for things that we enjoy in bad movies, because I would watch this 1,000 times before I watched absolutely anything again. Truly, or Lesbian Vampire Killers again. I find this far more entertaining
Don't
than those
forget
films.
Sausage Party.
Or Sausage Party, indeed, yeah. But I understand why you feel the way you feel about this film. Is this the worst film I've ever chosen? Is it more boring than Dangerous Liaisons?
I forgot about Dangerous Liaisons, which is very easy to forget about.
Or is it more boring than Little Women?
That wasn't quite a you choice, because that was an Oscar choice.
That was an Oscar choice. I'm just thinking of in terms of the worst films you've ever watched.
No, I think Dangerous Liaisons was pretty mediocre. That was... Nothing really happened in that film. Okay. As far as I'm aware.
As much as you might have hated this, you can't say nothing happened.
Yeah, but also not a lot happened.
True.
So, I watched this in two parts because I kind of phased out in, the middle bit where, they go on a date or whatever.
What, Lady Sybil? The main love interest?
Sure.
Who he sexes to death?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a very clear middle point in this film where he sexes her to death and then they jump 100 years into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I phased out just before that jump.
Okay.
And so that's where I stopped it and came back to it today. So clearly it got so boring that's when I stopped. I came back today and there was 15 minutes of literally no dialogue.
And what scene was that?
Well, that was the scene that gradually led to him sexing her to death.
Oh, when they go to the big dance party.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Nobody says a word. And there was 15 minutes of this, and everything was very slow. Nothing was happening fast. Do you know what happens in that scene?
I can barely remember it.
They dance. No, sorry. They start drinking some champagne. Then they go and dance. Somebody very obviously poisons her champagne. And I'm like, wasn't she dying anyway?
Yeah.
And then they go back to her tent or whatever and have sex. But maybe he leaves and comes back or something. I'm not fully sure. Basically, they dance and then they have sex. That's what happens. And it takes 15 minutes of on-screen visuals to show us that with no dialogue. It was so boring. There wasn't even Russell Crowe in it at this point to make it interesting.
I take your point. I don't disagree.
This film is slow.
It is very slow.
I'd say it's got about 20 minutes of plot.
Yeah. No, well, I think it's
an hour
got
and a half film, maybe 2 hour film.
I think it's got about 4 hours of plot, but I think it's only about 20 minutes of that appears in this movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far as to say I liked this film. I found this film engaging only in the sense that it was so bewildering.
Mm-hmm.
It was so odd.
Yeah.
Everything about it was so odd because it was like, on the one hand, the plot made no sense and I literally had no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my first time watching it as well, by the way. So I'd heard that this film was bad, but I didn't know in what sense it was bad. So I was quite intrigued to find out because what I'd seen looked quite interesting. So yeah, it's so strange and so much ridiculous stuff happens. But also, you're right, it is the crazy stuff that really made me laugh is very much kind of interspersed with long scenes where nothing happens. It's like, well, this could have lifted out.
Yeah.
So I agree with you completely. There is a lot of this film is genuinely boring, but I did enjoy the madness of what surrounded the boringness. I guess it's just the stupid decisions. I don't know about you, but could you follow and it's really hard when you're bored anyway, whether a film makes sense or not, but could you follow what was going on?
Not for the most part.
No, same. I was like, there were times in this film when I really thought, I was watching it on Netflix. I was like, have I sat on the control and accidentally skipped 40 minutes in and missed something?
Yeah.
Because it felt like the film started in the middle.
Yeah.
But it didn't take any time to explain who all these people were and what their relationships were with each other and
no, not at all.
what this world is where things are magic but only sometimes. And do characters know or not?
It was very strange.
I felt like I needed a Star Wars style crawl at the beginning of this film.
That would have helped.
Just this is the world we live in.
Yep.
This is what the characters are. This is why they know each other.
Yep.
But it just doesn't do any of that. Why did Russell Crowe care so much about killing Colin Farrell? What was his deal?
That was a big problem for me.
What
what was his motivation? I had no idea, and it didn't make any sense to me. And then also, why either of them were apparently immortal?
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
No, exactly. It was honestly, it was like walking into a film halfway through it and just trying to pick up the pieces.
Was Russell Crowe just a random devil, or was he just a normal person working for the devil, or what was the deal?
I can't tell you. He was also, I guess, immortal until he wasn't,
and then he was a snowman,
and then he became a snowman. I mean, that's the kind of craziness that redeemed this film for me.
Yeah, but by that point, I'd checked out so much. I was like, well, now he's just a fucking snowman now.
Yeah, I know. But at a certain point, you just don't care anymore. Fine, I guess this is happening. I understand. I'm sorry. I know. I could never defend this film for its quality, but I did. There were so many moments in this film where I just howled with laughter.
You know the bit where, the many bits where he gets at that little sign that says City of Justice.
Oh, I have no idea.
That his dad took from a boat or whatever.
Yeah.
From a little boat.
Sure, yeah.
Or did he take it from a little boat? Was he his dad? I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
I don't know how crazy this film actually is, or how based in reality.
Crazy, yeah.
Well, is he his own dad? Is he his own granddad?
Well, his dad was a different actor, so I'm guessing no.
Okay, cool. Because I wasn't sure.
Okay.
But he keeps getting it out all the way through the film, and kind of in a way that you're supposed to be thinking about what it is. And then he just stabs Russell Crowe in the neck with it, and that's it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Was there some sort of symbolism with that?
I think if there was, it was lost in translation.
It was very lost in translation because also you didn't really see it at all.
No.
When that happened, they're like, oh, it was that. Okay, well, guess that explains why he had it in his pocket this whole time.
Yeah, if there was like a flashback to like, oh, this is why this matters to this character, like maybe it would help, but that was just not there.
No.
Yeah, it really felt like a random collection of scenes from a very long film.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you to know that this film was based on a book.
Great.
And it just clearly a book that was...
See, this is why I don't read books.
Sure, okay. Well, another fun thing about this film is that it was originally going to be directed by Martin Scorsese.
Oh, God.
But then Martin Scorsese, then it would have been 6 hours long. But Martin Scorsese pulled out because he declared that the book that this was based on, this film was unfilmable, he said. He said, this story is unfilmable. It's impossible to tell this story in a film.
Wow.
Yeah, and then some other guy who'd never directed a film in his life decided to do it, and it didn't work. And it was a big old mess. But it was a big old mess that got a lot of like big talents involved. Like they clearly threw money at this.
Yeah.
It did not make money.
I mean, is it a lot of big talent, or is it just like it's got Russell Crowe in it, and he's done some great films, but also he'll do any old shit.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll talk about Russell Crowe and what the hell happened to him, but what was he going through at this point in his life? No, but I mean like Will Smith's in this film. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Jennifer
shock.
Connelly's in this film. Yeah.
That wasn't a shock.
No, sure. But like but yeah, Will Smith is a shock.
Yeah, Will Smith is the devil.
As like a modern like jazzy devil.
Yeah, but also a modern jazzy devil in like the 1800s.
Yeah, he's in the 1800s, but he's wearing a Jimi Hendrix t-shirt and he's got like these crazy earrings in.
Yeah.
It's like Will Smith showed up on the day because he was on set for a day tops.
Yeah,
he turned up. Yeah. He collected his $2 million check, did his scenes, didn't even get into costume. He was like, "Nope, this is what I'm going to be," and that was him. Yeah.
Burley Soames, Warden of Manhattan and the 5 boroughs. On what grounds do you make this request?
I've come to believe that a human is on the verge of using his miracle, which would be a formidable advancement for the other side.
Evidence?
The presence of guardian angels, Your Honor. Both the White Dog in the East and Cecil Mature.
What else?
Well, I've had a vision. A red-haired girl, drawn in a fugue with the blood of a virgin.
Pearly. That could be anyone.
Okay. Lou, I mean, he's already been seen with a girl matching that exact description. She's dying.
And he loves her?
Purely, entirely, and with all his heart.
So you believe it is his miracle to save her?
I do, sir. Yes, Your Honor, I do.
A man's destiny is often not what it seems.
I understand that, sir. I do. I understand that, but I have a feeling about this one,
You trained him. Picked him up off the street. The son you never had. Embarrassing, no?
Shit happens.
Okay. Do you want to do a plot summary then, John?
I'll attempt it. Sure.
Yeah, see what you can do.
Let's see how we go. Okay. So, Winter's Tale, released in 2014. Stars Colin Farrell, who last week we both developed as a bit of a crush on, and I think this week we've cured it.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
this week
gone.
cured it. Yeah. It was, yeah. But before Colin Farrell shows up, the film opens with some. Well, it starts with him doing a monologue, like a voiceover, with some waffle about like the stars and miracles and all this stuff that I never understood what it was all about.
To be honest, that sort of thing, that normally turns me right off a film. But I was like, okay, let's
see where this goes, yeah.
see. Like this isn't a million miles away from something like Stardust or something like
Sure,
so far. So all right, okay,
Yeah, we'll see where this goes.
yeah.
It turns out nowhere.
No.
Nowhere fast. Yeah, we have this opening spiel about stars and miracles, and someone's a miracle, and everyone's a star, and I don't know, there's something. And then we open in the year 1895, and there's a young-ish couple, a couple of immigrants arriving in New York at Ellis Island, where people get off the boats and start their new lives in America, but they get turned around and sent back to their home countries because I think one of them has got consumption, maybe the same disease as the woman. I don't know.
No, he's got a pulmonary heart issue.
Oh, okay. He's got some health problem, but no, it's not just like a heart issue. It's I'm sure it's something that's like supposed to be contagious, and that's why they're not letting him in.
Yeah,
Because you can't catch pulmonary heart disease.
the doctor just pointed at his chest and said it's pulmonary.
Yeah, I was confused by that as well.
And I was like, so he's gonna have a heart? You just don't want him dying on you, or like,
yeah, I was very confused by that. But
Yeah.
I assumed it meant
drew a big sign on the back of his suit jacket. I'm like, imagine if somebody just drew on the back of your clothes.
Yeah, and he did it as if he was like a schoolboy playing a prank as well.
Yeah.
It's like he taps him on one shoulder, he turns around, and he draws a big chalk mark on his back. Like,
Yeah, like just put a cross on his hand or something.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
well, I took it to mean he had like the plague or something.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know. Yeah. So they get turned away, and they have to go. They have to get the boat back to their home country. They've been turned away from America, but they have a little baby boy, and they don't want to. They desperately want the little boy to get to have his new life in America, but there's nothing they can do. So while they're on the boat, they steal a toy boat or a model boat, like a ship in a bottle kind of thing,
Yeah,
and they put the baby in it,
yeah.
which
And
is such a terrible, terrible idea.
And then just like pretty much just lob it off the side of the boat they're on.
This really made me laugh though. It was so stupid, but I really laughed at
And
it.
by this point, the boat they're on, it's
It's
way out
to
to
sea.
sea.
Yeah, it's so far.
Like-
They're just killing their baby.
You know, fingers crossed, this will like float back to America.
But it was so flimsy. Like, one of two things is going to happen if this is anywhere based in the real world. One, most likely, the baby's going to just flop straight out, fall to the bottom of the ocean, drown, dead.
Yeah.
In seconds. Like,
Yeah.
the boat was as narrow as the baby.
Yeah.
And there was nothing keeping the baby in the boat.
Yeah.
Or two, the boat floats outward into the sea, baby dies a slow, agonizing death.
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible. How bad can Russia be?
They're from Ireland as well.
Oh, with the Irish? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I couldn't tell. Well, is that why he had the mysterious Irish accent then?
Yeah.
Because I was also puzzled by Colin Farrell having a full Irish accent, despite he never meeting his parents. And
Yes,
growing up in America.
Yeah. that was odd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway, okay.
Maybe
so,
he's just got more standards than Russell Crowe.
sure. Yeah. I mean, he's actually Irish, so he can deliver it. So
Yeah,
sure.
well, yeah.
But whatever. So that baby gets put onto the ocean and somehow floats back to America. We never see how. We never see who rescues the baby.
Like all moments of this film are set at winter.
Yeah. Hence the title.
Yeah, and that part of the ocean at winter is the same part of the ocean at basically winter where the Titanic went down.
Oh, yeah.
and people died in like seconds when they went in the water.
Yeah.
So that baby would. Not that the baby is literally in the water, but that baby would get very, very cold very, very quickly.
No, there's no two ways about it. They're killing that baby. They are awful parents. Like
that's better than whatever's going on Ireland right now.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know my history. Maybe it's the Great Famine or something.
I
but
think it was the potato famine, sure, but
Yeah.
still, like, come on. This is insane. You're just killing the baby.
Yeah.
So we cut to 20 years later, 1915, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and that baby has grown up to be Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And he is being chased by a bunch of kind of off-brand Bond villainy kind of.
Yes.
I was very distracted by the henchmen in this film. It's Russell Crowe, but it's a bunch of random henchmen who are all wearing like bowler hats and I don't know. Yeah, but it's mainly Russell Crowe. He's chasing them down the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe with his, to be sure, what a dreadful Irish accent this was. This was
bad.
the worst Irish accent I've ever heard in a movie.
Like it went to sort of Somerset at some points.
It went all over. It did a UK and Ireland tour. It just went all over the place. At certain points, it took a detour to New Zealand. You know, and
Yeah, South Africa.
it was everywhere. It was crazy. Yeah, but Russell Crowe, for reasons that never become entirely clear in this movie, wants Colin Farrell dead. This is his like goal in life, is to kill Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
So he corners him in like a dead end street or something. It looks like all hope is lost. But then out of nowhere, a random white horse shows up. And Colin Farrell's like, horse! And he jumps on the horse's back. And the horse does a giant leap over the gate.
This was the moment for me. This was like, I'm out.
You were like,
I'm
this is where I was like, I'm in. Like this horse has just jumped over a gate. Like, and it looked so shitty.
It did. It just looked so terrible.
Colin Farrell, some people can pull off riding a horse.
Yeah.
I don't think Colin Farrell looks like a natural horseman.
No. Well, also, I don't think at any point he was in this film riding a horse.
No, well, yeah, so much of this film was green screen, and very obviously so.
Yeah.
On like a metallic horse or something. I could really see him on like a metallic horse, just being like. But also, he never looked comfortable or dashing. We discussed last week, handsome man, attractive gentleman, but he never looked like dashing on the horse. He always looked like he was clinging to the horse for dear life. Like,
Yeah.
in terror of being thrown off that horse.
Yeah.
But yeah, the horse not just jumps over a gate, but like supernaturally jumps into the sky. I don't think it gets wings at this point, does it? I mean, it gets wings later.
Sort of hints at it at this point, yeah. But I like how throughout the entire movie, or once or twice through the movie, he talks about how he doesn't know the horse's name.
Yeah.
And so throughout the whole movie, he just calls it horse.
He just calls it horse, yeah.
And I was really like, what's the horse's name going to be?
Never tells you.
It's just horse.
It never has a name. It never. Yeah. I mean, is the horse God? Is the horse's guardian angel? What is the horse?
I think at one point he said it was like his spirit animal or something.
Okay.
I don't know where he got that from.
Okay.
It's not a thing that's established in
No,
this.
it's a dated reference, for sure.
Yeah.
The horse saves his life, and we never really get much backstory on Colin Farrell, but he seems to like live in Grand Central Station, maybe, or he's hiding out there. But it seems that he's a thief.
Yeah.
And he was part of Russell Crowe's gang, but he has left the gang and now he's on the run because Russell Crowe wants him dead. So he's basically hiding from Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
In Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
And now he has a giant white horse, which is very easy to hide with.
Yeah. In a train station.
In a train station. It doesn't attract attention in the slightest. So Colin Farrell is hiding out from Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, the horse takes him on the rob.
Yeah.
Because he's a thief.
Yeah.
So to make ends meet, I guess, he starts robbing rich people's houses.
Yeah.
And in one house, he runs into Lady Sybil from Downton Abbey.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember her real name, and I can't remember what her character name is in this film. So for the purpose of this podcast, she's just going to be called Lady Sybil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine
Lady
by
Sybil
me.
from Downton Abbey.
Yep.
Yeah, and she...
I've just called her Redhead 1.
Redhead 1, that could also work, sure. And she is a rich lady in a big...
Because for the purposes of the plot, she basically is just Redhead 1.
She is Redhead number 1, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so she's a rich lady with a rich family and a big mansion. But sadly, she has consumption. She has a terminal illness. It's one of those kind of vaguely sexy, symptomless terminal illnesses where she has no symptoms, but she's just kind of really zen.
Yep.
And she's just like, well, I'm going to die soon, so, you know. But, like, you know, it's not like she's, like, hacking up blood or vomiting or going bald. She's just kind of like, yeah, I'll be dead soon.
Is consumption... What is consumption? I've literally never heard of this as a disease before.
I don't think it exists anymore. It's like a Victorian disease.
Right, okay.
And it would kill you, but I don't think it would like make you just serenely like, oh, I can see colours and light. Like, I think you would be vomiting a lot, and I think it's like a stomach disorder, maybe. I don't know. It's not really a real disease anymore, but I don't think, not in the Western world anyway.
Sure.
But yeah, it's in this world. In the world of this movie, consumption just means that she's always very hot.
Okay.
Like literally, her temperature is high at all times.
Yeah.
So much so that she sleeps in a tent on a roof in New York in winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also when she walks barefoot in snow later in the film, she's so hot, the snow melts at her feet. This is how hot she is.
Wow.
Yeah, she cannot bring her body temperature down, and she is doomed to die very soon. And we have this whole thing. And also she can see light and miracles and all these kind of things. Because there's a whole exposition scene where she's getting glasses made, which never comes back.
Yeah.
Literally never comes back. She never sees those glasses. They never get worn.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse for her to be like, well, you know, I can see light. Which also doesn't matter. It also never comes back. It's just nonsense. Just complete nonsense, complete filler.
Yep.
But so she's dying, but despite the fact she's dying, her entire family, which is her dad and her younger sister, decide to go on like a summer trip to a lake house. And they decide to just leave her, even though she's like terminally ill. She's like, oh, I'll get the next taxi. I'll come along in a few days. I'll just leave her on her own. She's fine. She's terminally ill.
The doctor said she would die 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like she literally says in one scene, oh, I could go anytime. I could be dead tomorrow. And the next scene, it's like, oh, I'll get the next train. See you later. Bye. Yeah, I can take care of myself. I'm only terminally ill with consumption. So they just leave her.
Yeah.
She's alone in the house. She's just wandering around in her big old white floaty dress and playing piano and being all sick. And then Colin Farrell, on the instruction of the horse, the horse just stops outside the house and goes, "Hey, there's silver in this house. There's a sexy lady in this house." The horse kind of forces him to break into the house, and he does. And he's robbing the house. He's stealing all the silver, all the valuables.
Yeah.
And Lady Sybil interrupts him. Well, she's playing the piano, and she hears him like he stands on a creaky floorboard.
Yeah.
So they disturb each other, and she's like, "Oh, are you going to rob me?" She's very serene. She doesn't give a shit. She's going to die anyway, so she's completely unbothered by the prospect of being murdered in her own home.
Yeah.
He's literally pointing a gun at her, and she couldn't care less. She's just like, oh, I guess she's robbing us, and are you still going to rob me? And he's like, no, probably not. It's a bit awkward now.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, well, I guess the polite thing was make some tea then. It's the weirdest meet cute.
It's weird, yeah, because like they've only both had that reaction because they're both Hollywood pretty.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like, no matter who walked into your house, no matter how handsome,
yeah,
you wouldn't just stop what you're doing and be like, oh,
yeah. Well, this is their falling in love scene. Their meet cute. Their meet cute is a robbery. It's a breaking and entry.
Yeah.
And somehow that means they... Because that's the other thing. It really... As much as this film is slow and boring, they really fast forwarded to being like, we're in love.
Yeah.
On the basis of like sharing some tea.
Yeah.
In a foiled robbery.
Yeah.
After this point, they're just in love, and we just have to accept it because that's what the film is telling us.
That's how films work.
He loves her. They've not even like slept together. They've not had any kind of like... Even the most predictable romance movie gives you something of them actually having a moment to fall in love. In this film, he breaks into her house. She gives him some tea, and it's like, I will die for this woman. It's like, that's it. I will die for her. So yeah, they're now madly in love. And somehow Russell Crowe finds out about this. Oh, it's because Russell Crowe, who I think we didn't mention, is a demon. Question mark?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. The film really doesn't let you know, because there's so much supernatural and magical stuff in this film, but it never tells you if like the main, if like this world is a magical world and everyone knows. Yeah. Like, do all of Russell Crowe's henchmen know that he's the devil or a demon?
I have no idea.
You'd think they would, because he does kill that guy.
Wait, which guy?
There's a scene at this point where he's like in a pub or a bar or a restaurant, and he's just eating loads of oysters and stuff, and he gives this crazy order, and then he just turns green and grows gills and stabs the guy in the throat and all that stuff. Yeah,
forgot about that.
He does that. He randomly kills some poor waiter for not having like double stuffed partridge or whatever the thing he orders is. And then he gets this weird vision, and he draws like a pencil sketch of the back of a cartoon lady's head. It's literally just like a circle with some red hair. Yeah, it's not a detailed drawing.
Nope.
And he's like, "Find that girl."
Yeah,
it's like, but that's a stick figure. That's not a girl. It's insane. Like, find that girl, and somehow his henchmen do straight away. They find it. They just hard cut to next scene. Lady Sybil walks out of her house. I didn't think she even had particularly red hair.
Not massively.
It was more like off brown.
Yeah,
but like because he's drawn this like auburn, proper redhead, but no, apparently it's her. And they're like, oh, we found her. That was easy. Yep. And then he tries to kidnap her. Yep. But Colin Farrell manages to ride up in the last minute and save her on horseback. The horse, takes him. So yeah, Russell Crowe grabs Lady Sybil and is like, I'm kidnapping you. And then Colin Farrell rides up on his white horse. But even though it's a horse, not a quiet way of traveling. No. Russell Crowe doesn't see or hear him coming until he's like right there. Yeah. Did you notice he comes running up? He comes riding up, and he kind of grabs Lady Sybil out of Russell Crowe's hand, and Russell Crowe's like, what? Like, it's a horse. You'd hear that shit down the road.
I mean, later in the film, Russell Crowe does the same to him.
Yeah.
Like, he just pops up out of nowhere, just like, oh, I was looking for you. I found you. Hello. I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah. I felt like Russell Crowe in this movie looked and acted like a Super Mario Brothers villain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he kind of looked like a Goomba because he had like he's reached the no next stage. Like he's well on his way. Like,
he's a very weird shape in this.
He's so weird.
That topless scene later in the movie.
I was gonna say, yeah.
What is he made out of balloons?
I think they must have CGI'd him a little bit because he looked like the guy. You probably don't know who this person is, but yeah, in that brief topless scene, he looked like that reality TV guy who was on Celebrity Big Brother a few years ago, who had a silicone-enhanced six-pack put on top of his beer belly. Right. So he didn't like get into shape or get fit or lose weight. This guy, he's like a fairly like fat guy who got a silicone six-pack inserted. So he still had like a big beer belly. Yeah. But on top of the beer belly was a six-pack. Wow. And that's what Russell Crowe looked like in this movie in that brief topless scene. It was so weird.
Yeah.
They must have CGI'd it. It must have just been like, well, I'll do a topless scene, but better make me look fucking good.
Yep.
It was.
And they did not.
They did not. He looked terrible.
They probably made him look worse than he actually looks.
Yeah.
Really.
He just looked odd because he had he's reached the no neck phase. He has literally no neck in this film. He's just like, he actually, when he turned into a snowman, I was like, well, that makes sense because he kind of has the proportions of a snowman.
Yeah.
It's just all head and body, like tiny head, big body. Like, it was madness. Like,
yeah.
But he just felt like King Cooper as well. Not just like looking at it like, because he's grabbing the prince. He's like, I've got you, princess. You know, she's basically Princess Peach in this scene.
Sure.
And then Colin Farrell rides up on his horse and like grabs him out of the way, and Russell Crowe's just like, Fah! Like it was. I don't know. It felt like very video gamey.
See, for me, it felt a lot like Les Miserables.
Well, that's I think Russell Crowe's career, right, starts off very tangent. Starts off very well. Like he did Gladiator, he did L.A. Confidential, he did
Neighbours.
Neighbours maybe doesn't fit into this theory, but like no, he was at one point considered one of the greats.
Sure,
actors.
yeah.
And at some point, everything just went a bit south.
Yeah.
And I think Les Mis is the point. I think that is the moment when everything after that just went woof, like downward spiral.
Yeah.
Like he either stopped trying or something happened to him. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like Javert is the exact midpoint between good Russell Crowe and crazy Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
I enjoy both Russell Crowes, but this is definitely on the downward trajectory. Like
no, I'll give you that.
This feels like a continuation. This is like Javert, but Javert not singing.
I was really expecting like any scene with him to finish, and I am Javert.
Yes, well, it's the same character. It's this guy
really
who's
is.
Randomly obsessed with like getting revenge on this one person, and
There's a major time jump in the middle.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah,
and he's still crazy.
Questionable accent work. It's all there.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Dead at the end.
Dies at the end. Yes.
Didn't turn into a snowman in Les Mis though.
I mean, that would have made Les Mis slightly less boring.
Yeah.
If he'd ended as a snowman, sure. Like, no, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it, but it was crazy. So Russell Crowe tries to steal Lady Sybil, but Colin Farrell saves her, and they ride off to the lake house where her family is staying.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why this is why you tuned out, because this scene is very, very long, or this section of the film is very long and makes no sense. Because sometimes it seems like
and has no dialogue.
It has very little dialogue. You're right. Because at certain points it seems like it's just her family. Like, cause there's William Hurt who plays her dad. There's her little sister who's like 8 years old, and then there's Colin Farrell. And it's like, okay, so the family in this lake house. But then there's another scene where it's like a big dance party and there's like 200 people. I was like, what is it? What is this? Where are they?
Yeah.
What is this lake house? Is this a family reunion? Like what?
I don't know.
I have no idea what it was, but. Whatever. So they go to the lake house, and this is where we get all the scenes of her walking barefoot through the snow. And she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so hot! Look, the snow is melting. The snow is my feet are melting snow." And Colin Farrell teaches her his method for cooling down, and he's like, "Well, just take a deep breath, and then say a bunch of nonsense, and then you'll cool down." And I was like, "Well, that is a perfect like analogy for this film."
Yeah,
that's how this film was written. Clearly.
Yep.
She's like, "You're making me so hot." No, you're making me so cold. You're making me anti-hot. Like,
yeah.
Can you hear your heart?
When the fever comes, it's about the only thing I can hear.
When you go to crack your first safe, your heart beats so loud you can't hear the tumblers. And you have to learn to quieten it, slow it down, so you can work between the beats. The trick to it is lists. Meaningless words. You say as you exhale to slow down the breath. Inhale quietly. Exhale and say the words until the breath is gone. Got it?
I think so.
Okay. Do you need a list? Animals are good, colors, saints.
Castor. Pollux. Capella. Ursa Major. Ursa Minor. Polaris. Peter. It's working.
Go on.
And I actually forgot, you mentioned earlier that she gets poisoned in this scene. Because she goes to a dance party. They all go to a dance party. I actually thought he just sexed her to death, which I found hysterically funny.
It's way better that way.
That's way much funnier. Because she's ill, you know?
Yeah.
And it says that if she gets too hot, she'll die. And what's hotter than sex? You know?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. And like, it sucks with covers on and everything. I'm like, well, take the covers off, you maniac.
But yeah, she gets poisoned by somebody.
Yeah. But you never see her drinking that champagne.
No.
Like, the waiter pours them each a glass of champagne. They both look at it, and then without either of them saying anything or looking at each other, they both simultaneously put the champagne down and walk off and go and have a dance.
Yeah.
Nobody's drunk any, and then it gets poisoned.
Maybe he did sex her to death then.
Yeah.
I prefer to think that Colin Farrell sexed her to death.
Sure, okay.
It's more entertaining, and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
It's kind of selfish as well, though.
Kind of, yeah. But I mean, she's the one who's like, I've never been kissed on the mouth before. It's like, well, you've got consumption. Sorry. But yeah, basically, they go to this party. Oh, the little sister does this whole waffly stuff that comes back later about, in this magical lake house that we live in, there's the princess bed, which is like in a greenhouse.
Oh, God.
And something is foretold that you will...
See, now, this I completely phased over.
Okay.
I picked up on it by the end, but when it comes back at the end, I wasn't like, oh, that was that bit that I missed. I was like, what? What is this?
Understandable. So basically, there is a princess bed, which is like a mattress in a greenhouse in the lake house, whatever, where it is foretold that Colin Farrell, or I guess anyone, I don't know, will bring a princess back to life by laying her on the bed.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's just all foreshadowing that's put out there. Then they go to the party, they go back, they have sex. Lady Sybil and Colin Farrell have sex. And she just dies in the middle of it. She's just in the middle of sex.
Well, the end of it.
Oh, the end of it, sure. Yeah. I guess she comes and dies.
Yeah.
It's the worst ways to go, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah.
She just very much kind of goes, and then she's dead. But I did laugh at how much she was like fully a corpse.
Yeah.
Because they just had sex and then she's kind of like, she dies with her eyes open. It wasn't like a romantic kind of like, and then she like closes her eyes and just looks like she's sleeping. She just literally kind of goes, and her eyes are still open. And it's like she's a full corpse. And I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was entertained by that. But he like races her to the princess bed and he's like kissing her. It's like Sleeping Beauty kind of thing, basically. But no, she's fully dead. There's nothing to...
So I didn't understand what the princess bed was at this point. So like he realizes that she's dead and starts panicking.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, she was gonna die anyway. So, you know, it's probably a good way to go. And then he's like, no, I need to bring her back. I need to save her life. I'm like, she was gonna die.
Yeah.
It's fine, let her die. And then like he picks her up and runs off downstairs with her. I'm like, well, that's not going to help anything. Give her CPR or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
by the time you get anywhere, she's already going to be dead. And then it goes and puts it in another bed. I'm like,
it's the magic bed, Harry.
I'm like, this.
It's the magic of this universe.
But what? Is this her cold place? Is this supposed to make her better because it's her cold place? Well, fancy that. It didn't work because you've been dead for 5 minutes because you weren't doing CPR, dickhead.
Well, I wondered jump into the end. When he rescues the Jennifer Connelly's daughter and brings her back to life, has he cured her leukemia?
I assume so. Through magic.
Sure, yeah, because if he's just brought her back to life in that moment, then she's still just going to suffer even more. Like, so I didn't understand the logic of it, but whatever. Yeah. So she's dead. Basically, Lady Sybil has passed on.
Yep.
Colin Farrell is devastated. He goes back to New York. I guess he's got nothing to live for anymore. He is discovered once again by Russell Crowe, Javert, or whatever he is. Yeah, him and his horse both get captured and taken onto a boat. Or, was it a boat or a bridge?
Bridge.
It was a bridge. Okay, they get. Oh, that's it.
Well, they get cornered and sort of backed onto a bridge.
They're cornered on a bridge, and he fights and rescues the horse. So the horse. Is this the first time the horse fully flies?
Yeah, kinda. Like it jumps off that cliff at one point and sort of glides down to the icy lake.
Sure, but basically, multiple points in this film, this white horse that Colin Farrell rides will leap into the air and get the most shitty-looking CGI wings, which made me laugh every single time, and it can fly, basically. Yeah. So it's a magic horse. Yeah. We don't know why, we don't know what it is or what it's for, but it's a magic horse. Yeah. So Colin Farrell fights and fights and fights, rescues the horse from the gangsters, but is himself captured. And then, this really made me laugh. When Russell Crowe, like, quadruple headbutts him.
So weird. Like, I think I was half expecting Colin Farrell's character to be like, why aren't you just punching me? Like, why are you punching me with your
This really
face?
fed into my theory that Russell Crowe in this movie is playing a Super Mario villain because he's only got this one move.
It was so weird. I understand. I've never seen anybody like fully headbutt anybody else, and it feels like a ridiculous thing because you're just going to hurt yourself just as much.
Not like I spend a lot of time headbutting people, but it hurts you as much as it hurts the other person.
Yeah,
it's not an effective way to win a fight.
And I understand in films that like sometimes somebody gets a headbutt in because there's no other option.
Yeah.
There's loads of other ways that he could have inflicted pain and eventually killed him. I don't know why he only chose to use his head. Well, and it wasn't just like once using his head.
It was just like 5 times.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning of the film, when he's first chasing Colin Farrell and he's corners him.
This, I know that Russell Crowe is technically immortal, but he's not uninjurable. He's got a massive scar on his face.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I remember at the beginning of the film when Russell Crowe is chasing Colin Farrell, and Colin Farrell, before the horse saves him, is cornered, and his henchmen are going to shoot him.
Yeah.
And then Russell Crowe says, No, don't shoot him. I want to do this slowly.
Yeah.
And then when he finally gets him, he doesn't do it slow. He just headbutts him 5 times and throws him over a bridge.
Yeah.
How slow is that?
I don't know. And I was also thinking, like, Russell Crowe, you've basically made it apparently your life's work to find and kill this guy.
Yeah.
Are you not even going to like do it in a way that you know that he's dead? You're just going to throw him off a bridge into, well, film level cold water. I know it's winter again, it would kill him in seconds, but like, you've not seen a dead body, so he could be around anywhere. Oh, and guess what? He's immortal.
Yeah.
Because of course he is. I had to let the cold water bit go at this point because he lived for a further 100 years.
It's magical realism, sure. Yeah. No, I agree. It's crazy. So yeah, he headbutts him 5 times and throws him over the bridge. Colin Farrell survives, obviously, washes up on the shore, and then 100 years pass.
Yep.
And then he transforms, and then it's 2000. It's gone from 1915 to 2014 or something. And Colin Farrell has now turned into sad Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, pretty much.
He has Keanu Reeves' hair.
Yeah. His hair still varies, though. He has 2 very distinct haircuts. He's got the long Keanu Reeves hair, and then he's also got the Colin Farrell undercut.
The undercut drove me nuts.
Yeah, because like, did he have the undercut back in the olden days?
He had the undercut in 1915, and it looked so wrong.
Yeah. It didn't fit 1915 at all. Like, was he filming Fantastic Beasts at this point or something?
I don't know, because it looked like so much effort to have it all just swept to one side.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that the film had any choice on his hair. I think that he chose that.
Yeah. Much like Will Smith.
Yeah.
It was like he turned up on the day and like, well, this is what I'm wearing, so just deal with it.
Yeah. And when they did manage to get a choice of what to do with his hair, they just put him in a Keanu Reeves wig. And then I guess in the future, once he's grown out that, the character's grown out that hair, at some point, Colin Farrell just said, I'm taking this wig off.
Yeah. He was done with it. Yeah.
And he just goes back to the exact same haircut again.
Yeah, we never see the haircut scene. Yeah.
And it really made me, it really confused me because I was like, well, wait, is this past him or is this future him or what's going on here?
Yeah, because
like, how many versions of him are there?
Yeah, you're right, because there's no reason to think he's had a makeover. Like this,
no,
no time has passed. It's like from what you're right. In one scene he's got the longer, and the next clearly Colin Farrell's just like, I'm not wearing this for the next 6 months. Just no.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm going back to my undercut.
Yeah,
it's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that undercut does not look good on him.
It doesn't.
I'm sorry.
It looks better than the long hair. He definitely doesn't suit the long hair. But,
sure, yeah.
But you're right. Neither of them are good haircuts for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's lived 100 years. He's not aged a day. He's lost his memory, but he still has like buried memories of Lady Sybil because he's doing that same sketch that Russell Crowe did of the red-headed woman.
Yep. He's
now painting in chalk in New York Central Park, whatever it is. So he's doing that. He's been living as, I mean, I don't know, what's he been doing for 100 years? Does he have a house? Where does he live? Is he a vagrant?
I imagine he's just still a common thief. He has said he doesn't have any memory.
Sure.
Like, he literally forgets about what's her face, like, in a day.
Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah.
Sure, makes sense, yeah. So he's just living day to day, basically. Yeah. But yeah, he ends up stumbling. Oh, is that when he discovers the thing you were talking about earlier, the boat sign that says...
I think he's just always had that in his pocket.
Okay, well, he discovers something that triggers a memory, and he goes to the library to try and find out his past. And Jennifer Connelly shows up and is like, I'm a journalist, I'll help you. And somehow there's loads of like sepia black and white photos of him and Lady Sybil together. Yeah. Like, when did they pose for those?
I don't know.
When was the photo shoot element of this whole story?
I don't know. And given that he's just looking for a red-headed girl.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know his own name. How did they find any of these photos?
Yeah.
Like, from all the photos in history that have ever been taken,
They just happen to find these ones.
they happen to find the exact right photos.
Yeah, I don't know. And then,
How could they even tell what color her hair was? It was a very light red, and it's a black and white photo.
Yeah, there's no indication yet. But Jennifer Connelly's like, oh my God, how can it be? It's you. You haven't aged a day in 100 years. Like, at no point is she. I was waiting for her to be like, is that your granddad? It clearly is him.
Yeah.
But the way she just jumps immediately to immortal.
Yeah.
Just really made me laugh. Like,
so weird.
yeah. But then she's like, oh, I need to take you to my where I work, the newspaper. You're a story. So she takes him to the New York Times.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Is that really what happened?
Yes, that's why. Yeah.
God, because I thought that it would be like he's trying to get in touch with the little girl who's now an old lady or whatever.
No, that's a coincidence.
Oh my God.
That made me laugh more than anything else in this film. This reveal really made me cackle.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, clearly you didn't, but I
Well,
was
no, 'cause
tickled by how stupid this was.
I wasn't engaged enough to
I understand,
to understand. Like, I just thought like, oh, okay, so he went to go and like catch up with the only person that he knows because he just had his memory triggered by this.
Yeah. No, it's Jennifer Connelly's idea. She's like, I'm going to take you to the newspaper that I work for, and the newspaper. This is 100 years in the future.
What would the newspaper even? What would the story be?
Man lives forever. Oh, extremely old man looks good. Yeah, I don't know.
This man looks the same as a man in another photo.
Yeah.
Written by a chef.
Yeah.
Like,
who knows? Who knows? Like,
I'm taking it straight to the editor-in-chief. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the internet? This happens all the time.
Hold the front pages. It's mad. So she takes him up to the offices of her newspaper, and the editor of the newspaper comes shuffle out. It's this very old lady, and it turns out he recognizes.
You
it
say very old.
I mean, she's 108.
Yeah, but she's not, though, is she?
No, the actress is like 76. I don't know, but like, that's the other thing that made me laugh. Is like you very clearly jumped 100 years into the future.
Yeah.
The girl was like 8 to 12 in the first. Like she's 100. She's like 105 by this logic, and she's running a newspaper.
And like, yeah, she looks sprightly. Like she
looks perfectly fine, but she's
looks-
running a newspaper.
Yeah.
At 105.
She should have been as old as the lady from the Titanic.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that sort of passes for like she's pushing 110. Like,
Yeah.
I can believe it. But this one, like, she comes in, she does some star jumps, and she's fine.
She's absolutely It's and they recognize each other instantly, even though like she's just literally 100 years old.
Not even got her bus pass yet.
No, she's absolutely fine. Yeah. And again, this doesn't really lead to anything. She plays no part in what happens after this. She's
that's
just
true,
Kind of,
yeah.
She's just kind of like, oh, it's you, and
Yeah.
a little bit of a connection between the two halves of the timeline. I don't know. Anyway,
At this point, I am really wondering when on earth is this going to wrap up?
I can
Like,
imagine.
it just feels like they're adding more in. Like, so now there's an old lady involved. Like, this is a new character to me. What is she? Because also I didn't remember the sister.
Sure, I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess that Redhead 1 had a sister. Fine, I can believe that. Now she's here. Fine, I can believe that too. It's later that I add it up that like over 100 years has passed. But whatever.
Well, whatever. Basically, they have a little bit of a reconnection moment. Meanwhile, Russell Crowe, who is also not aged, I guess he's a demon, so he's not going to age.
Yeah, I guess he's as mortal as Colin Farrell.
Yeah. So we didn't talk about. Would you think Colin Farrell is also a demon though?
I think Colin Farrell said that he was a miracle. He's a self-proclaimed miracle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the explanation. He is a
but
miracle.
Russell Crowe seems to work for the devil. He seems to be like an angel of death or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I mean, we haven't talked about Will Smith. Will Smith is the devil.
Yep.
But Colin Farrell, we see him being. I thought Colin
What
Farrell
do you think
didn't.
of the second Will Smith scene? When, well, they don't really talk about very much, but then at the end, Will Smith sort of reaches out to Russell Crowe emotionally, just saying like,
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you, man. Yeah.
yeah.
You get used to people. Yeah, that felt like a lot of important in between scenes got cut. 'Cause,
Yeah. I didn't really get anything between them. Like,
No.
if they were trying to make like any kind of friendship or like even a romance between those two, nothing.
No, Russell Crowe.
nothing at all.
Will Smith needed to be in more than 5 minutes of this movie for that to ever have worked. What he didn't. Yeah. So my understanding was that Will Smith is literally Satan.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe is like one of his minions.
Yeah,
But maybe he's a minion that Will Smith kind of likes. Who knows?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so funny that Will Smith is in this movie at all. It's just
really
it's so
is.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Because initially...
Because Will Smith doesn't really play small roles.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, like what possessed him to do this? Like
The devil.
and he's got all this crazy like computer generated voice going on, and
That was weird.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
no. When he's like, time? You ask me about time? I've lived in the past and the present and the future all at once. See my Jimi Hendrix t-shirt. He's not even been born yet. You don't even know what rock and roll is. Psych. I've been to his concerts just today. Like, it's madness. Like, But anyway, so yeah, Will Smith is the devil. Woo! Exactly. Will Smith is the devil, and Russell Crowe is serving him. And so Russell Crowe's also lived 100 years. What he's been doing in the meantime, God only knows.
Well, he's still in the police.
Yeah.
And he seems to be all like still, I don't know, police chief or whatever.
Sure.
And he's still carrying around the same wanted poster from literally 100 years ago.
Oh, okay. I know you will never
Pointing at one of the police officers saying, "Go and find this man." And the police officer says, "That's over 100 years old, right?" And that's the only question he's got.
Yeah, so that's the yeah. But okay, I know that you will never ever watch this film again. So this isn't for you. But listeners, if you're going to go watch this film, I have a very strong recommendation. In this set scene, and you'll remember it because this is the Russell Crowe topless scene, and it's very upsetting. So you'll notice it when Russell Crowe is in the 20th century, when he's in his apartment and he's like, "I sense that Peter Lake," which is Colin Farrell's character, I sense he can't be still alive, can he?
Wait, did you mean the 21st century?
The 21st century. So yes, the modern scenes.
Yeah.
Sorry, 21st century. When he senses that Colin Farrell is alive again.
Yeah.
And he does this topless scene, and this scene when he's talking to the police officer, he's 100 years old. There is a bit where he's standing in front of a chalkboard with like crazed scribbles on it. It's like very much like his character in A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
It's just he's doing all the maths. If you pause it and read what's on that thing on that blackboard, it's so ridiculous. He's just written Peter Lake ? Which is Colin Farrell's character.
Yeah.
And then an arrow that points to another word bubble that says red-haired girl ? And then they just keep it's just that over and over again all over the screen. It's just like Peter Lake ? Red-haired girl ? Like the whole thing is just that. It's so lazy and funny.
Great.
It's ridiculous, yeah. So watch out for that. But anyway, yeah, Russell Crowe is still alive, and he senses that Colin Farrell has somehow survived. Why this is the first time he's recognized this, I guess it's because Colin Farrell's memories come back, so something's triggered. Yeah. So he goes back to Lucifer, and he's like, "Look, I need to finish him off. Because for undisclosed reasons, this is his life's work. He has to kill Colin Farrell. He's like, we need to fight to the death, and I need your permission, Lucifer, to kill him." And Lucifer's like, "Well, I'll tell you what. If you insist, then we'll do a whole pact where you can fight him, and the one who dies for real." So I guess that Lucifer is lifting the immortality clause for a little while.
Yeah.
And so Russell Crowe's like, "Yeah, fine, I'll take it, whatever."
Yeah.
And then he chases down Colin Farrell and Jennifer Connelly. And Jennifer Connelly has a little girl who also has red hair, who is dying from leukemia. Yeah. Because of course she is. Yep. And there's a scene in Jennifer Connelly's apartment, because Jennifer Connelly's just this random journalist who's helped Colin Farrell out, discovered him on the streets, helped him find his memories, took him to the newspaper where he could reconnect with the old lady. But now they're just like friends, I guess. But he's in her apartment, and the little girl is like feeling very ill, and she lies down on the couch, and she turns around, and because she's got cancer and I guess she's lost all her hair, I don't know, but she's wearing like a red headscarf, and she turns around, and suddenly it's like, "You're the sketch. You're the badly drawn sketch. It's you. It wasn't Lady Sybil at all. It's you. You're the one I'm going to save. You're the life I'm going to save." Yep. And then he's like, "Okay, great. So Jennifer Connelly, I'm going to take your kid, and we're going to fly out to this random lake house on a flying white horse. That's on, by the way, that is on the roof. Yep. There was a flying white horse.
I mean, he doesn't sail this.
He doesn't explain anything.
I think that if he explained anything, she wouldn't have gone with him at all. She would have been like, "Oh my God, you're insane. Get out of my apartment right now."
But she does it.
Yes, because he doesn't explain anything. He just kind of says like, "People are coming. We need to go. They might hurt me. They might hurt them." Yeah. The girl. We need to go. Doesn't say, "Get on my flying horse. I'll take you to safety."
No, but he takes her.
He takes her up to the roof
where there is a horse.
And then when like there's no more choices, like because otherwise she might have just been like, "I'm just going to call the police."
Sure.
Or just like leave at the front or back door and just like go down the street or whatever.
But she has literally no context for what's going on. At all.
But when like suddenly your only choice is you're on a roof, there are people like at the door to the roof trying to get in, and there's a horse. Get on a horse.
It's a horse on a roof, and she's got a very sick daughter, and she's like, yeah, okay, sure, let's jump on a horse and let it jump off this like 18-story building.
Yeah, I get.
It's mad.
I don't know.
Anyway, so they ride the horse.
I guess she's not seen a single bit of magic yet.
No, for all she knows, she's just like committing suicide.
No, she does fully believe that he's immortal though. So
I guess there's that. Yeah, it's flimsy.
Yeah.
Compared to getting on a horse and jumping off and
Yeah.
the Empire State.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the Empire State, but it's a tall building.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they do that and they fly off on the flying horse to the lake house. Russell Crowe gives chase with his henchmen. And this was maybe the funny. No, this and the old lady scene. This is one of the funniest scenes. So they have a standoff. Like it's snowing. It's a winter's tale. It's very cold. They're at the lake house, the middle of nowhere. Russell Crowe's caught up with them, with his henchmen, all the random guys, and
they all park their cars on a frozen lake.
They park their car
on basically Chekhov's frozen lake.
I felt like there was one car and like 20 guys. So I don't know if it was like a clown car.
There were 5 cars.
Were there 5 cars? Yeah. Okay, fine. But they're on the ice, whatever, yeah. And Russell Crowe and his goons have cornered Jennifer Connelly and Colin Farrell and the little girl. And then the horse appears. The horse comes back.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell's like, you know what to do, horse.
Yeah.
And the horse jumps over all the villains, flies off on his crazy, shitty CGI wings again. And Russell Crowe's like, the horse has left you. And then the horse comes back, smacks into the ice, and then the ice cracks all around all the henchmen. And the henchmen all just fall into, like, the ice flips over and all the henchmen are just like, whoa! And like 25 henchmen just go down under the water. Not one of them tries to save themselves.
Nope.
It really tickled me.
Yeah.
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe just kind of looks at it like, that's unfortunate. Like, it was such a mad scene. I don't think I'm like displaying accurately in the podcast form how mad that scene was. Like, it's insane. It was an insane piece of cinema.
It was insane, but I found it very predictable.
I guess because it was like, well, I guess they have to get rid of them somehow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a frozen icy lake. When in a film has anybody ever not fallen into the frozen icy lake?
Sure. Fine.
Always happens. Yeah. Literally always happens. Somebody falls in at some point.
I mean, fair enough, fine. So, yeah, the horse does that. And so now it's just Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell and Jennifer Connelly and the kid. And the kid is very rapidly dying of hypothermia. Yeah. At this point. And I'm like, Jennifer Connelly, you made some bad choices as a mother.
I don't know why you're just hanging around waiting.
Yeah, go indoors, do something.
Yeah.
But Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell, they fight to the death. They have a big old fight. Colin Farrell stabs Russell Crowe in the neck with his sign.
Yeah.
And then Russell Crowe turns into a snowman.
Yeah, he does.
He just freezes and then he kind of shatters and...
It doesn't even shatter. He just turns into a...
It just literally turns into a snowman.
A fully built snowman.
And you're like, well, okay, I guess that just happened. Like, I had no reaction to that scene. I was just like, well, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just didn't really know what to do with it.
There was no context for it. It was like, okay, I guess he's turned into a snowman. I guess that's the end.
Yeah.
And then the little girl dies.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell takes her to the same princess bed where he failed to save Lady Sybil.
Yeah.
And puts her on the... And then there's this very uncomfortable scene where he's like lying this girl down on the bed and he's like looming over her and he's like staying like... Does he kiss her?
Oh, I don't know.
I remember being like, oh, please don't kiss her. She's 8.
Yeah.
And you're 45. Like, it's just weird.
145.
You're 145, but you look 45. And I was like, this is weird. And Jennifer Connelly's just... At no point is Jennifer Connelly like, take your hands off my daughter. She's just like...
Yeah, but it's not that though. It's not. He's just...
No, I'm not saying he's molesting her, but I'm just like, her daughter has just died and she's just kind of like sat there like, all right.
Yeah, she's letting the immortal man do his thing.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so Colin Farrell does his magic.
I don't know. I'm for whatever reason.
I can't believe we've flipped and you're now defending the...
I don't know why. It's just my natural state. I always give the benefit of the doubt, even if it's an absolute shit piece of film.
Fair enough. So, yeah, Colin Farrell, spoiler alert, saves the girl's life. Like, the magic happens, she comes back to life. I guess she doesn't have leukemia anymore. I don't know. And then Colin Farrell jumps on the horse and jumps into the sky and becomes a star. Yeah. And then that's the end of the movie. Yeah. I also laughed a lot when he just jumped into the sky and became a star. Yeah. And then Jennifer Connelly and the little girl are just left there in this random lake house. Like, how are they going to get home?
Yeah. I was way more expecting him to just turn into a snowman as well.
Yeah. Just like, we're walking through the air.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, anything could have happened in this film. It's so ludicrous.
Yeah.
By the end, nothing would have surprised me.
No.
And then it just ends with the credits roll, and it's a bunch of like like old sepia photographs of Jennifer.
I turned off by this point.
You're just like, yeah, we're done. I hear the credits. I hear Hans Zimmer. I'm
Yep.
gone. Yeah,
Yep.
fine. Yeah. Well, that's the end.
This was a bad choice.
I mean, I've enjoyed talking about it.
It's been all right to talk about.
Well, I'm sorry it was such a depressing experience to watch, but I feel like it was fun to talk about. But I promise I'll give you a break from bad films, but we'll do good films for a while now.
Good.
Okay. I mean, when it's my choice, I have no control over what anyone else chooses. But
Sure, yeah. But, you know, I've generally chosen pretty well recently.
Sure, yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes.
See how you've done recently.
Well, I'll try and redeem myself in January.
Okay, so drinking games.
Drinking games, yeah. What have you got?
So first one I got: drink for anything shiny.
Drink forever. Do you mean like in the mythology of this film? Like, oh, they're shining, they're magical stars, they're miracles.
Well, yeah, there's stuff like that. There's like that bit where she tries on glasses. Well, don't know what that scene was, but yeah, there's that, and there's the light is doing a lot of weird things there, especially with the lenses. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be like a thing, like a plot point.
Yeah, they never explain what this was.
Yeah,
I'm sure it makes sense in the book.
And do you remember in modern day Russell Crowe's apartment?
Yes.
When he's topless and he walks up to the window and just like, oh, I sense that Peter Lake is alive, and then just dips his hands in lots of jewels and just sort of rubs them about on himself. What on earth is going on?
But then he also
and they're reflecting the light up into his face and making him look all weird colours, and so that's why I was like, what are these shiny things? What do they represent? Yeah. Never comes up.
Do you remember when he actually literally said, "There's like these weird little coins, aren't there? That if you flip them or if you, I don't know, whatever, they create some kind of symbol of the light, and they tell him where Colin Farrell is."
Oh yeah.
And he flings one and he goes, Yahtzee. Like, what? Like the game? What?
I don't know.
I don't have an answer for you. But
one of them creates a hologram of Grand Central Station.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just,
that never comes up again.
This film is just insane.
I think this would have been a good TV show. No, a better TV show.
Yes, I think they probably could have got more in. I think clearly there was way too much plot that they needed to pack in that they failed to pack into a 2-hour movie. So yeah. A miniseries might have worked better. The book, by the way, I've not read it. I don't know it particularly well. Apparently, has been voted one of the 25 greatest books of the 21st century.
Whoa!
So apparently, the book is very good.
Whoa!
But the films are not.
Wow, that is a very good award to get. Wait, who voted for this? Was it the author?
I don't know. Readers. I don't know. Readers, critics, a magazine. I don't know. Someone voted it one of the 25 best books of the 21st century. So
wow. Is it up there with like the book version of Mortal Kombat? Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines, possibly, yeah. It's just the whole list of like, bad films, good movie. Bad films, good books. I don't know. I don't know. Who can say?
Yahtzee! Grand Central Station. Let's go and kill him.
Okay. Drink every time you spot bad CGI. This is one of my favorite games in this film. Especially just watching a scene
and green screen?
Yeah, green screen. Mostly green screen. Yeah. I mean mostly green screen. Like scenes where it's very clear that the characters are just on a soundstage somewhere in LA and it's supposed to be like in the middle of this beautiful... All the horse riding scenes just look so fakey to me. Like hysterically fakey. Yeah. So,
yeah. Definitely a lot of that. Drink for hairstyle changes?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
There are some weird hairstyle choices in this.
Russell Crowe's just like potato, isn't he, really?
Yeah, but it's not. It's more like very short hair, but not like shaved head.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And I don't know what he was... Why didn't he just have his normal hair?
I don't know.
Like, he's not a bald man.
No, he's not. He normally has like quite a good head of hair. But,
okay.
I don't know. All of the choices Russell Crowe made in this movie were bewildering to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't understand any of them, but
I wasn't sure that he'd been involved in some sort of accident in which he'd lost like his hair had been burnt off or something.
He just walked under an open flame and like shit, he's got a hair.
I don't know.
Okay, sure. Drink when a scene goes on way too long. Mm-hmm. This I will agree with you on, definitely. Like even though I didn't find this film as boring, a lot of individual scenes, especially in that middle point, did go on for far too long. And I was like, I feel like nothing's happened for 10 minutes, but we're still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of that in this film.
I don't understand why, because like you said, there's clearly more that they want to put
that
in.
with like actually explaining what the hell is going on and what universe we live in, but no. Just all interstitial scenes. I don't know.
I don't know. Drink for that City of Justice sign.
Oh, yes, when he pulls the thing he always looks at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's just looking at it all the time. I don't know why.
Drink when a new character appears and then vanishes and plays no part again.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. Like do you remember the black guy at the beginning who's like in Grand Central Station who hides out Colin Farrell? He's like, you can't stay here too long with that horseman.
Yeah.
And then he randomly shows up again 100 years later in
does
the
he?
graveyard. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I did notice somebody else. Yeah, no, coming back in the graveyard. Also, a little black girl takes a flower from the grave and gives it to Colin Farrell
Oh yeah.
at one point. What was that?
Oh, are these like the angels of diversity? I don't know what this was. Like, I don't know what they were supposed to represent. Like,
Now that is a band name.
yeah, the angels of diversity.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't know. Drink for magic.
Drink for magic, sure. Yeah, magical realism, magic, when you don't know what... Because none of the human characters or extras react to the magic and like, oh my God, that's magic.
Yeah.
So that leaves you to think, okay, maybe this is just a magic world.
Yeah.
Where everyone's magic.
But then,
that's
like,
also never explained.
But then, like, after 100 years, it's just normal worlds that we live
It's
in.
really just regular 2014 New York as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, drink for product placement.
What did you notice? I didn't really pick up too much on that, I don't think.
Well, I think that they went to Fox.
Uh-huh. Did they go to Fox Studios?
I think it was Fox Studios where she was editor-in-chief.
Oh, okay.
And then also there's like, when he starts flying over the city, like at the very end, there's a very prominent CNN logo.
I didn't spot that.
I'm like, who's sponsoring this? Is it just news companies? What's going on here?
Well, this film must have cost, as bad as the CGI is, this film must have cost a pretty penny, so I don't know. I can't say I noticed it, so it wasn't very good product placement, but sure.
No.
Okay. My last drinking game is drink for bad accent work.
Oh, yeah.
Like a very, very bad accent work.
How did I forget that one?
Mostly on the part of Russell Crowe, of course. That Irish accent was insane. Like, it's like he just made it up on the spot. Like, he didn't do any work on it. He just turned up that day.
Yep. It was almost like somebody told him what an Irish accent sounds like.
Yeah.
But not showed him.
He'd never heard one before, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
someone had like vaguely described it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on geographical location alone.
And it really felt like in some scenes he was really trying, in other scenes he wasn't even bothered. Like, it really came and went with the breeze. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he got lazy after he won his Oscar. He's like, well, I'm an Oscar winner now. Of course I can do accents.
What did he win for? Gladiator?
Beautiful Mind, I think.
Oh, right.
I think because he lost for Gladiator and everyone was like, well, he should have won for that. And then he won for A Beautiful Mind, which isn't really very good. But
Right.
yeah,
Sure.
you know how it is with the Oscars. You don't normally win for your best performance. So
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Cool. Well, listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode that we've done this whole year, or any year before, I guess,
It's been a while.
then do please consider supporting us on Patreon, because that's how we keep the lights on and keep telling ourselves that it's worth doing this thing.
Sure. It's not because we like enjoy each other's company or anything. It's
No,
purely
no.
just for the
Definitely not.
just the cold hard cash. Yeah.
And we hate the films, and we hate everything, but you know what we do love? Money.
Yes, cold hard money.
But no, really, if you do feel like supporting us, that would really put a smile on our faces.
Yeah.
So you can go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset to do that, and you get a few bonus features like extended version of the main show.
Mhm.
We do Patreon episodes every now and then as well, where we get a patron to choose the film for us. You get a little 30-second ad slot, and we do a bonus show.
Yes,
So yeah, all that patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
indeed, very good.
It's worth it.
So what does a receptionist do when the fire alarm goes off?
I don't know. Call the fire brigade?
I seriously hope that was a joke. That's what the fire alarm is for.
Well, she's the one who asked what to do. I'm just guessing.
Well, I think you'd have to be the one that makes sure everyone knows where the fire exits are and checks that everyone is out of the building. Like, we have the list of guests. It's not that hard.
I just wait till it actually happens and we'll see if you find it's not that hard. What are you going to do if everyone goes off running in different directions before you check them off your list?
Or someone sleeps through it.
I highly doubt you can sleep through a fire alarm.
I have.
Sure.
So what? We're just going to say they'll check off all the guests as they exit the building to make sure they're all out.
Welcome to The Quids In is a new fictional podcast coming to all podcasting platforms weekly from September 10th, 2020. Learn more about the show by visiting our website at islandlifeproductions.com and clicking on Support Us.
Right, all my sequels.
Great. So my first idea is a proper sequel, a continuation of the movies. So I'm thinking the end of the movie's fairly ambiguous, I guess. It's like Colin Farrell jumps into the sky and I guess we're supposed to assume he becomes the star and is reunited with his Lady Sybil, but
Yeah, I think so.
I was thinking, well, maybe that's not what happened. Maybe he just like rode off into the night, like, but he's still like of this planet, and maybe he just continues living.
Okay.
So I'm thinking we cut another 100 years into the future, and now we're in like movie future.
What about the cancer girl? Did she survive? Or
Oh, she can come back as an old crow and like the little girl from the first. It can be a whole cycle.
Yeah.
But yes, basically, I'm thinking.
No, I was just checking that it wasn't like he again tried to save the wrong redhead, and so she died, and he still got to find the redhead to save or whatever.
I mean, it could be that, but
Because that's such a weird way to do a film.
yeah, he must save a woman's life, and then any woman, any girl. It's his miracle, Harry. She was his miracle.
Yeah.
I don't know, but well, that's it. He does his miracle. He saves a girl's life, and he expects to like either die or ascend or do something. But he stays on this planet, and he's like really confused. He's like, I don't understand why I'm still here. I should have, he's just stuck with his flying horse. So he's just like, well, why am I still here? I've done my miracle. But he just, for some reason, just keeps on living and not getting any older and cuts 100 years into the future. So it's now 2115 or something. So now we're in like movie future. It's like, Blade Runner kind of future,
Yeah.
So yeah, and we could have like fun with that whole kind of what the future is going to look like in 100 years. It could be very like techie and maybe like post-apocalyptic and, climate changey, whatever you think 100 years is going to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it's like...
It's been a while since we've had like a film that predicts what the future's going to be.
You're right. People have stopped. I think it's just too depressing now. People just don't really want to talk about it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not really very
I mean, other
hopeful.
than like post-apocalyptic.
Sure, that's all we get,
Yeah.
Is Dune set in the future? That's coming out soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Timothée Chalamet? Yeah.
I don't know anything about Dune, so.
No, I mean, it's an old film. I don't know when it was originally set, but now it's being remade with Timothée Chalamet. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it's the future in this film. And it's just him and the horse wandering through futuristic New York, trying to figure out what the hell his purpose in life is. And he doesn't know why he's still here.
Yeah.
He's not getting any older. His life isn't changing. He's just, living every damn day in this futuristic world. So Russell Crowe has been defeated. He's dead. But Will Smith is still alive. Like, Will Smith is Lucifer. And I'm thinking Colin Farrell at some point realizes the only way he's ever going to get any peace, he's ever going to like be able to die or be able to move on from this weird purgatory he's in, is to defeat Lucifer himself. So he goes, once he realizes this, he goes on a hunt to face off with Will Smith himself.
Yeah.
And this is going to give Will Smith a bit more actual screen time in this movie, a little bit more to actually do. Like, I don't know whether his fashion's changed. Maybe he's even more futuristic now, or if he's just still wearing his Jimi Hendrix suit and he's really like a nostalgic Satan. I don't know. You could do a number of different routes with this. You could be like the genie. You could be anything, but
or you could do like a prediction of somebody who's kind of small and kind of weird right now, and just be like, no, Dua Lipa is going to be like the rock star.
Interesting choice, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
How would you dress like Dua Lipa if you're Will Smith? That's
I don't know.
a bit of a stretch, but
well, maybe it just looks really weird and just like that's not a fashion that anybody would ever wear.
Sure,
but it's because this is what like 50 years in the future is, and I'm from 100 years in the future. So this is nostalgic. What I'm wearing.
Sure, that makes
sense. And it's cool.
Yeah, that's it. I think Will Smith's always trying to be cool, so he's always trying to be like the hot new trend. Yeah. So he's very much that. Yeah, so I think it's going to be like a cat and mouse game between Colin Farrell and the horse hunting down Will Smith, and maybe Will Smith is taunting him because he's the devil. He can come and go as he pleases. And maybe he's just trying to find a way for them to actually have their final fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe there's also going to be a woman, another little girl. Yeah, I agree with you that the little cancer girl, the little girl with leukemia, should definitely come back as like an ancient crone who's like, oh, I'm still alive. And she's got some mystic wisdom to impart to Colin Farrell just to keep him on the road. But yeah. I don't know, maybe Lady Sybil is reincarnated in some way. I'm spitballing here, I don't know. Like, maybe she's got like a great-great-granddaughter or...
Oh, so it's the same actor?
So, yes, basically just bring her back. Because she felt like the real love interest and then she just dies halfway through the movie and then we never see her again. So.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah. So maybe like he managed... Because it's the future, maybe he managed to bring her back as a hologram. It could just go full Blade Runner style.
Yeah.
And she's just a hologram.
Yeah.
And he becomes obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very much spitballing here.
Yes, you are. And I don't really know what to do with it.
I don't have a lot to go on here. I'm just thinking Colin Farrell in the future, fighting Will Smith, fighting the devil. That's basically all I've got. As far as I could go with it, really.
Okay.
But, I'm sure there's a great...
You got a title for it?
Yes, that was A Summer's Tale.
Okay, so always... set the whole thing in summer.
Well, yeah. Oh, you could just set it in summer, so it's eternally hot, maybe global warming again. But also I was thinking summer because it's like he can't die. So like,
yeah,
he's
right.
constantly in the summer. He's
yeah.
never in the winter of his life anymore because he's just immortal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
And the devil's always hot.
The devil is always hot, exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense. That works.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so this one's called A Horse's Tale.
A horse's tail. Okay, like a horse's tail. Like, nay. Yeah.
Or like the tale that a horse would tell.
Okay, sure.
Whatever. It's to mirror a winter's tale.
Sure. No, I get it. Yeah.
Cool. Just checking. But also, it's both, isn't it?
It could be either. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the film Shark's Tale.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, so we pick up just after Colin Farrell sends the horse away back in the olden days.
Okay.
So the horse flies off and all the way back to its home up in heaven.
So at the midpoint of the original movie, before
yes.
the time jump,
Yes.
when the horse flies off to freedom. Okay, so this is a midquel.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the horse flies off and goes back to heaven, which is where the horse lives or whatever, and checks in with Saint Peter on the way in.
Okay, so is the horse a saint?
Not that I've written really.
So it's Saint Peter as a man in like white robes or whatever, like a saint, but the horse is still just a horse.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like get a visualization in my head for this.
Do you want to be the horse or do you want to be others? Because the horse meets multiple characters, so either like you can play all those characters, or you can play the horse. I think you should play the horse.
I'll play the horse. Okay. Fine.
You're the first line.
Okay. Am I supposed to do this in like a horsey voice?
Nah, just go. You can do your own thing, or you can just go like sort of bit common if you want.
Okay. What if the horse is just like very like, all right, Pete. Yeah. All right, Pete.
All right, Derek. How's it going? How was the gig?
Oh, not good, Pete. This monkey thought I was his spirit animal.
Ah, one of those. They're so self-centered. If I had my way, I wouldn't let any of them in. But you know what the big man says. Everyone's got to have a fair trial.
Oh, yeah. It's PC gone mad, isn't it, Pete?
Totally. So what did this dickhead name you? They always give her a dickless name like Sagittarius or something.
Oh, you're going to love this, Pete.
Go on.
He called me Horse.
What an imagination.
I know. Like, even horsey would be better. But no, just horse.
Wow. What was this guy's name again? I'll be sure to turn him away.
To be honest, mate, I forgot his name. I just called him Human. Anyway, I think he died as I left, so I'm sure he'll be along. Anyway, mustache.
All right, see you, Derek. Give my regards to the big man. Tell him my shift finished 2 million years ago and I'm waiting for the changeover.
Will do, Pete.
So Derek the horse goes on through heaven to speak to God. And God, of course, probably like a Morgan Freeman type.
Okay. Is he like looking like Morgan Freeman or just like disembodied voice of Dom?
You know what? You can probably cut that little bit out there because I'm not about to do a Morgan Freeman impression.
I was just gonna say that's bold, but sure. No, the voice of God is the voice of Harry. So, in the absence of a Morgan Freeman accent, are we saying the voice of God is the voice of you?
Yes.
Cool, comforting. Go for it.
Oh, hi, Derek. You did very good with Peter.
The bouncer.
No, not Saint Peter. That man you've been helping with in New York.
He was called Peter. What are the chances?
Well, fairly high. I mean, the Irish are mainly named Peter or Patrick.
Okay, you couldn't make him a bit more creative then? God.
Hey, I tried my best with the Irish.
Really?
Well, I'll be honest. I made them last thing on the 6th day and I'd had a few beers.
Yeah, adds up.
Anyway, how was the quest? Did you help him save the redhead?
No, she died anyway. I think it was actually poison in the end. I know she was supposed to die of the consumption or whatever. Weird choice, by the way.
Well, what can I say? I work in mysterious ways. So she died, so I guess that you failed.
I guess. So does this mean that you won't lift the curse and I'm still stuck as a horse?
Well, given that your debt is still unpaid, I'm going to need you to go on just one more mission, I think.
Fine, but please make it an easy one. And no Irish. I hated that Irish prick.
Well, sorry, Derek, but that's racist.
Oh, damn it.
And that's blasphemy.
Oh, fuck. Shit. Sorry. That's a swear word.
Oh, no, I don't mind swearing. But anyway, for the blasphemy, you're not going to like this next quest I've got for you.
Oh, God. Go on. What is it?
Well, it's the exact same thing you just did, but 100 years later.
Oh, man, but how?
Well, you know what? I'm going to make the same guy immortal and give a different redhead girl cancer.
You're mean.
Don't you mean mysterious?
Whatever. Just send me down.
So, God then sends Derek the horse down for the second half of the film. Which obviously we're not gonna go through.
Sure.
Derek then comes back successful, back at the pearly gates.
All right, Pete, how's it going?
OMG, Derek. So many people died in the 20th century. I've been absolutely rushed off my feet.
Oh dear. Well, hopefully you'll get a break soon. What year is it now?
It's the start of 2020.
Oh, I'm sure this will be an easy year for you. Anyway, mustache. Good luck.
Derek gets on to God.
Oh God, I've fucking done it. I helped him save a red-haired girl, and then I flew into the sky, though he died in space. I told him to get off before the air ran out, but he wouldn't listen. He was too convinced he was the personification of a miracle.
Yeah, he told me. He just passed through, actually.
Oh, he got in? Well, that's just great.
You didn't like him?
No, he named me Horse. Do you know how demeaning that is? Especially as I don't want to be stuck as a horse much longer than this.
Oh, yeah, about that. Okay, yeah. So you've done enough missions to pay off that debt now, so let's change you back.
Finally! I've hated being stuck as a horse.
God waves his arm and transforms Derek back from being a horse into a slug.
Ah, that's so much better. Oh, I love being a slug. No stupid long legs, no hair, no nonsense.
And then God says, it's weird that you like this.
You're weird, God. Anyway, I'm off. Bye.
And then Derek the slug very, very slowly slithers off and lives happily ever after.
Well, Harry, you know what? You're right. I would never have written that. So. Interesting.
I don't know what I was thinking. I just started writing and it just went in a direction.
You let the spirit move you.
Yeah.
No, well, I like the idea of like a midquel about the horses like living in heaven and like actually what is the backstory of this mysterious like guardian angel horse.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What was the title of that again?
A Horse's Tale.
A Horse's Tale. Very good. Oh, of course it was because tail.
Yeah.
So my second idea, again, it's not much more advanced than my first. But it's called A Henchman's Tale.
Okay.
Because I was really fascinated by Russell Crowe's henchmen in this movie.
Right, yeah.
Because I was like, who are they? Do they know that they're working for the devil? Or are they just like guys? Or are they also devils? I didn't know.
I reckon they're all in debt to Russell Crowe.
They're all in severe debt to Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Russell Crowe, who he himself, I reckon, has made a deal with the devil.
Mm. Oh, so you think he started as a man but became a demon because of like selling his soul?
Yeah, maybe. He's just like, oh, give me immortality and I'll do your bidding.
Okay, so maybe he started as like a corrupt police officer because it seems like he's some kind of cop. He really is just Javert, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe he was the chief of police. I remember maybe these henchmen all worked for him and he was started off as a good man and he was a good police officer and he was trying to do good things and help people. Mm-hmm. But then as time went by, he became more and more cynical and he got into debt for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And he sold his soul to the devil to try and... Maybe he had like a sick wife or something, or you know, there's some reason, and he sold his soul to the devil to like save his wife's life or save his child or whatever. But it didn't work out. He was tricked, but he ended up being in service of the devil anyway. Mm-hmm. And now he's just like this crazed monster who works for the devil. But I'm just thinking, like, what is his day job? Like when he's not in the 100 years between him 5-time headbutting Colin Farrell and Colin Farrell coming back, like how's he fill in his days?
More corrupt police work, I reckon.
Is he still working as the chief of police who just never dies? Are there other people he's like obsessed with killing?
Could be.
I like this idea that he's a police chief, actually. He's a corrupt, demonic police chief through history. So like times are changing through like the Great Depression and the World Wars and the Blitz and whatever happens in America. Mm-hmm. There was no Blitz in America, but you know. He's just this corrupt New York City police chief who's using his henchmen to like cause chaos and destruction through the city, basically. But then the other thing I thought about this was, what if it was the other way around and actually the horse was evil and Russell Crowe was the good guy?
Right, okay.
But like, because it never...
And Colin Farrell didn't realise.
Yeah, because at no point does Russell Crowe actually say, I'm evil.
Yeah.
We just assume because he's grumpy and he kills people.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is a fair assumption. But, yeah. What if, like, the horse is Satan?
You'd make a terrible lawyer.
What, me?
I know that he's grumpy and he killed people, but we don't know that he's that
evil.
guy.
Yeah, exactly, you know. You don't really know, do you? Let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, what I'm thinking is that maybe Will Smith isn't playing the devil. Will Smith is playing Jesus.
Yeah.
Or God. And Russell Crowe is his servant, but it's like a salty God. Yeah. It's like a God who is a bit grouchy and, you know, a bit quick with his fists, you know. And the devil might look, you know, white horsey and very appealing, but actually he's still pure evil. Mm-hmm. And so he's trying to rescue Colin Farrell from being corrupted by the devil. Mm-hmm. But Colin Farrell thinks he's the devil. So they're trying to save the world. And that's why he's so obsessed, because we never understood why he's so obsessed. Actually, he's trying to save the world the best way he knows how, but he can't help it. He's Russell Crowe. He seems evil all times. So he's trying to stop the horse, and the horse is Satan. Mm-hmm. But...
Wait, the horse is Will Smith?
No, the horse is Satan. Will Smith is God. Yeah. Will Smith is actually good.
Right.
But we just haven't established that because this film didn't make any attempt to explain anything.
Yeah.
And so this film is actually a very sad story about Colin Farrell actually just becoming a Satan worshipper, unbeknownst to himself. And and when he shoots off into the end, he actually goes to hell.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah. But yeah, I was thinking of having it, rather than being from Russell Crowe's perspective, it being from one of his henchmen's perspective.
Yeah.
So all of the crazy stuff that happens, it's like a side character who's maybe just a human, just a regular human trying to do his daily day business, and his boss just occasionally like grows weird gills and grows weird CGI gills and stabs people in the neck and kills people and lives forever, inexplicably lives forever. Like, imagine if your boss was someone who also was the boss of your great granddad. And just everyone in your family has always worked for that one guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know why he's still alive. It's kind of weird, but we just traditionally always work for him. Like, I'm just gonna go with it. Like, I think that'd be pretty funny. And like, especially the scene in the ice, like when they all get thrown into the ice by the horse. It's like, why do they not try and save themselves a bit more?
Well, it's difficult. Water's very, very, very cold.
So it was very slapsticky to me, that scene.
Yeah. Ice is slippy.
Yes, ice is slippy, but I don't know.
And to be fair, a lot of them just, when Russell Crowe said, "Get off the ice," they all just got in the cars, and then the cars sank. So like they've also got to like try and get out of the cars that are in cold water.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Maybe these henchmen are like insanely stupid.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
Like Disney villain sidekick stupid. Like just, crazy stupid, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, what did they think their mission was in the ice when they're chasing Colin Farrell and a random woman whose daughter has leukemia? Like, what did they think they were doing?
Don't know.
I just wanted to really dig into the whole henchman scenario, because it just seemed mad to me. So, again, both my ideas are pretty thin this week, but I just like the idea of the story from the perspective of the henchman. So, the henchman's tale, and then maybe also tie in Russell Crowe actually being a Jesus figure.
Yeah,
maybe that's also a part of it. I don't know. So, yeah, not my best week for sequel ideas, but
it took you an hour to come up with that.
I was mostly just reminding myself of the film. I've had a long week.
Okay,
but whatever, we got through. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so listener submissions?
Yes.
I only have like 4 this week, because surprisingly not many people have seen this movie.
Wow.
Shockingly. I mean, would it shock you that this film did not make a lot of money? It has like
I'm trying to work out what I think the budget of this could have been, though.
No, it was pretty high, but it got like 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. No one came to see it. So
yeah.
So I've only got a few. So Rob Farnham said, the same events, but retold from the flying horse's perspective. So basically your idea.
Sure, yeah.
Adam Capitano said A Summer's Tale, which is basically my idea. I think most people have struggled with this one, to be honest. Just that bad of a film. John Muggleton said Winter's Tale 2. This time we actually adapt the book, because apparently this was not a good adaptation of the story, which makes definitely tracks.
Fair, yeah.
Connor Crehan said Will Smith's Devil on Vacation.
Will Smith's Devil on Vacation?
Yeah, so the devil goes on like... The devil, as played by Will Smith, goes on like a holiday. You know, why not? Why not?
Sure. He's going to break.
And finally, Dennis Fanning said, Winter's Tale 2, Spring Forward. The year is 3,455 and love is illegal, but flying horses are plentiful. And the devil is plotting revenge in a now super retro Rolling Stones t-shirt.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to what I said, but it's just like live in the very deep future. So yeah, those were our sequel pitches this week. Not very many, but like I said, I did pick a terrible film, so I have no one to blame but myself. So thank you everybody for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave a 5-star review if you so wish. It really helps us to stay on top of the rankings, so please do consider it. As mentioned earlier, we are also available on Patreon, which is exclusively for the people who would rate us more than 5 stars if they could. You can find all those links in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, we're going to round off our Christmas season with a Patreon episode. So, friend of the podcast, Nathaniel DeBell, who joined us earlier this year with Survive Style 5, has selected another, I think this is an anime classic. Well, it's certainly Japanese, called Tokyo Godfathers.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, it's another Christmas-esque movie, so it somewhat fits. Probably going to be our last one of the year, and then we'll do our annual roundup, and then we'll head into 2021 for whatever nightmares that brings to the world. But, yeah. So, yeah, join us next week for Tokyo Godfathers.
Yeah. All right. Thanks already for listening.
Thank you very much. Take care.
See you later. Bye.